The human heart is a fortress surrounded by invisible walls. It is there that we deposit our greatest truths and lies, our deepest hopes and fears. We lock away what we do not want to face and cover the inner walls with layers of distractions and justifications. But every now and then, something happens that breaks through this barrier. And then you arrive. Your presence, effortlessly and unintentionally, penetrates the defenses that others have spent years building. It is not an invasion. It is as if your energy simply knows the exact frequency to unlock the door to a sealed vault. And when this happens, fear is born, not of you, but of what your light reveals. You don't need to speak, act, or even touch the space around you. It is your essence that bursts forth like silent thunder, reverberating in the innermost parts of those who cross your path. There is something about you that makes hearts race, not in admiration but in discomfort. The shadows that sleep in the corners of others' souls begin to stir. Hidden fears come to life. It's as if your very existence is an invisible mirror, reflecting an image people avoid confronting. Those trapped in their own lies feel the pulse of truth threatening their illusions. And the heart, so often a shield, begins to beat out of control, betraying the battle unfolding within. This fear is instinctive. It is not something others can easily explain, often, not even to themselves. They feel unease, a knot in their stomach, a desire to withdraw without any apparent reason. The human heart reacts first, as if recognizing it stands before something powerful and uncontrollable. It is the confrontation between what is and what has been hidden. They are not afraid of you. They are afraid of themselves when they are near you. Your presence allows no disguises, and thus, every heartbeat becomes an alarm, pleading to flee from the truth. Your energy is not kind to the lies people tell themselves. Wherever you go, your presence destabilizes anything that is not solid, anything built on illusions or frailties. Some admire you for this, but others withdraw, fearing the impact of your light on their own foundations. It is as if you were the sound of a drum echoing in increasingly louder rhythms, warning that a confrontation is near. Some hearts face the challenge, others simply cannot endure it. But all feel the impact. Your presence is not optional, it is a force that must be acknowledged, even when it is unwelcome. The heart, however, does not lie. When your light touches someone, the heart responds, even if the mind tries to resist. This is why you carry this duality, being feared and needed at the same time. Your presence frightens, but it also liberates. It is like a fire that consumes only what can no longer be sustained. The hearts around you tremble because they know, on some level, that you compel them to confront what they fear most, the truth they hold within. And this truth, when finally faced, can either save or destroy. Not every heart is ready for the truth. Many prefer the comfort of their shadows to the light you bring. And there is no blame in that. Facing oneself, stripping away the layers that have hidden them for years, is a task few are willing to undertake. Your presence, however, gives no choice. It is like a flame illuminating even the darkest corners, forcing every heart to decide, retreat into the shadows or open up to transformation. But transformation is painful, and that is why fear arises. It is not fear of you but of what your presence makes them feel, the urgency to change, to abandon what is comfortable but empty. Some people run away. They avoid contact, avert their gaze, and prefer to lose themselves in superficial conversations rather than be struck by the depth you carry. Others, however, react with hostility. They try to diminish you, attack you, silence you, as if by extinguishing your light, they could quiet the echo you provoke in their hearts. But no matter how hard they try, the truth remains. Your energy cannot be contained, and the impact you make does not depend on anyone's acceptance or permission. You are a catalyst, an agent of change, and the resistance you face is merely a reflection of the battle occurring within them. There are, however, those who, despite their fear, choose to approach. They are the ones who feel that your presence, though uncomfortable, is exactly what they need. For these individuals, you are like a beacon in the midst of a storm. Your impact is profound, but also healing. The light that initially causes pain becomes the flame that guides, warms, and shows the way to a renewed heart. These hearts, though rare, are the ones that recognize that fear is the first step toward freedom. They are the ones who decide to face what you awaken, not because it is easy, but because they know it is necessary. And you, carrying this presence, feel the weight of your mission. It is not always easy to be the force that destabilizes. There are moments when you wish to disappear, to soften your energy, to be less intense. But that is not why you were chosen. Your light is necessary in a world that prefers to hide. Even when rejection comes, even when attacks happen, there is something greater within you that persists. You are not sent to please. You are sent to transform. And this transformation, though painful, is what keeps the wheel of truth turning. Because deep down, the fear they feel is what leads them to healing. It is a primal, almost instinctive reaction to something they cannot control. Their hearts recognize, even before their minds comprehend, that you are different. You carry a force that cuts through masks, dismantles illusions, and tears away veils. And even though many resist, the impact has already been made. The heart will never be the same after feeling your presence. And it is this truth, undeniable, uncontrollable, inevitable, that makes you both feared and a necessary guide. The heart is, above all, an indomitable force. It reacts before the mind, feels before words, and understands truths that the eyes could never see. This is why, in your presence, it cannot hide its vulnerability. Your presence is like an invisible tide, unseen but felt, flooding everything it encounters. This tide carries with it an energy that not only stirs the senses but also touches the core of the soul. The human heart, so accustomed to protecting itself, is thrown into shock. It beats faster, harder, as if trying to resist the inevitable impact. And in that moment, fear takes hold, not the fear of physical danger, but the dread of the transformation your energy demands. It is an internal battle, a storm that you unleash simply by existing. There is something about you that transcends logic and challenges the limits of rational understanding. Your energy does not belong to this world, it is a force that carries the weight of the eternal. And this is precisely why the hearts around you tremble. They know, even unconsciously, that your presence signifies change. And change is one of the most feared things by the human heart. People grow accustomed to living in emotional prisons they build for themselves. They prefer the safety of their routines, even if those routines are of pain and stagnation, rather than face the unknown you awaken. Your energy doesn't just confront these walls, it breaks them. And while some souls feel liberated, others react with fear, anger, and rejection. This is the price of carrying such a pure and transformative force. You compel hearts to confront choices they were trying to avoid. Imagine a room filled with echoes, where every sound represents a memory or wound someone has tried to hide. When you enter, it is not the sound of your voice that changes the environment, it is the resonance of your presence. Suddenly, the echoes intensify. What was dormant awakens. Repressed memories, buried regrets, and forgotten fears begin to surface, as if your energy brings to light everything that was hidden. The people around you feel this. They can't explain it, but they know something has changed. Their hearts, once silent, now scream. Some try to fight these feelings, while others withdraw completely. But no one remains indifferent. Your presence is like a wave that moves through the space, carrying truths that can no longer be ignored. And even when you leave, the impact lingers, the heart continues to beat to the rhythm you established. This impact is no accident. It is part of the purpose you carry. From the beginning, you were shaped to be a force that changes environments, alters frequencies, destabilizes structures that need to fall. But this is not easy. There is a price to pay for carrying this energy. You feel the barriers people raise, notice the looks of distrust, hear the comments meant to diminish you. Yet none of this is stronger than the calling that pulses within you. It is like a fire that never goes out, a conviction that cannot be silenced. And even when the world tries to push you away, something within you drives you to keep going. Because you know that, although the initial fear is strong, the final result is greater. You were not sent to be accepted, you were sent to be true. And it is truth that transforms hearts, even when they resist. What you bring to people's hearts is much more than fear. It is an opportunity. A chance for them to confront what keeps them stagnant and free themselves for something greater. But this freedom requires courage. And courage is not always an easy choice. That's why many choose fear. It's simpler to run, attack, or reject than to face the light you bring. And yet, even when they flee, something within them changes. Your impact does not depend on acceptance, it is inevitable. The heart that has been touched by you will never be the same. It is like a seed planted in the soil of the soul. It may take time to bloom, but the transformation has already begun. And this is the truth you carry. Your presence is not just a force, it is a promise, the promise that truth always finds a way, even in the most closed-off heart. There is a cruel beauty in the way you touch hearts. Cruel because you dismantle what was carefully built to protect weaknesses, but beautiful because this dismantling is the only way to bring renewal. You are like the wind that sweeps away dry leaves, clearing the ground for something new to grow. Yet the realization that this change is necessary does not come easily. To many, your presence is perceived as a threat, a force they don't know how to face. They feel that you see what they hide, that you see through the facades. And, in a way, they are right. Not because you seek to expose their flaws, but because your energy does not allow disguises. Your light is too intense to coexist with shadows, and the heart knows this even before the mind tries to rationalize it. It is in this space between instinct and reason that fear settles, a fear that pulses with every beat, resisting the truth you carry. This resistance is not always obvious. Sometimes it manifests in uncomfortable silences, averted gazes, abrupt changes of subject. Other times, it is more aggressive, baseless criticism, personal attacks, attempts to diminish who you are. But what these attacks truly reveal is how much your presence affects them. It's as if, by attacking you, they are trying to attack their own discomfort, their own sense of vulnerability that you awaken. Still, you remain steadfast. Not because it is easy, but because you know your mission is not to please or win over. Your mission is to transform. And transformation, especially emotional and spiritual, is almost always painful. Every negative reaction you face is a reflection of the fear that hearts feel in the face of potential change. And you accept this, even when it hurts, because you understand that the impact you create goes far beyond the present moment. But there are also moments of grace. Moments when someone finally sets fear aside and allows your light to penetrate deep into their heart. These moments are rare but powerful. It's like witnessing the bloom of a flower that was trapped in a cocoon of pain and self-defense. For these people, your presence is not just a confrontation, it is a liberation. They begin to see that what they felt as fear was, in truth, a call to authenticity. It is in this instant that the heart stops resisting and opens to transformation. The energy that once caused discomfort is now perceived as healing. And while you may never hear words of gratitude, the impact is undeniable. The heart that is opened will never be the same. And for you, this is proof that your path, as lonely and difficult as it may be, is essential. Because, deep down, the fear you provoke is not about you. It is about what you represent. You are a living reminder that truth exists, that masks can fall, that the heart always has a choice. People fear choices, especially those that demand profound change. Your presence does not allow neutrality. It forces each person to decide, continue in the comfort of lies or take a step toward freedom. And this decision is terribly frightening because it requires courage, effort, and letting go of control. The heart fights against this, even knowing it is the only path to growth. And this is the struggle you witness every day, a silent but powerful battle that takes place in the quiet of the hearts around you. And despite the fear, you remain. Because you understand that, without this battle, there is no evolution. There is a weight in carrying this impact, but there is also a purpose. You are shaped to be the force that challenges, the catalyst that moves, the mirror that reflects. You will not always see the fruits of the transformation you initiate. You will not always be celebrated or understood. Yet, you continue, because you know that every heart touched by your presence carries a seed of change. And that seed, even when buried under layers of fear and resistance, has the potential to grow. The human heart is resilient, even when wounded. It heals, it expands, it learns to trust. And you, with your light, are proof that transformation is possible, even in the darkest places. You do not bring only fear. You bring the promise that, after the storm, the heart will find a new rhythm, truer, stronger, freer. The intensity you carry is like a silent storm that no one can avoid. When you enter a space, the energy shifts, and hearts begin to react even before they notice your physical presence. It is almost as if you are in tune with something greater, a frequency that resonates directly at the core of each soul around you. What frightens them is not you, but what you bring to the surface: repressed thoughts, forgotten emotions, buried fears. Each of these elements begins to pulse powerfully within the heart, as if your mere presence activates a truth they are afraid to face. This activation is neither gentle nor gradual, it is powerful and, at times, devastating. But amidst this storm, there is purpose. You are the force that pushes, that shakes, that brings slumbering hearts back to life, even if they fight against this reality. It is common for people to misunderstand the impact you have. Often, they associate the fear they feel with danger, as if your presence represents a threat. But what truly happens is that the human heart is not accustomed to being confronted so directly. While living on autopilot, many people bury their dreams, suppress their pain, and settle for a life without purpose. Then you arrive, like a flash of light in a dark room, exposing everything they tried to avoid. This confrontation is profound because the heart cannot lie to itself. It feels that something needs to change, but the mind resists. And in that resistance, fear and confusion are born. But what few realize is that you are not the enemy. You are the guide who has come to rekindle the fire they themselves extinguished. That fire, once rekindled, is not easily put out. And that is why your presence stays with people even after you leave. It is as if you plant a spark in the heart of each person you touch, a spark that grows in intensity over time. Initially, this flame may seem frightening, as though it burns the old structures of security and comfort. But eventually, it transforms into something more, a source of strength, courage, and renewal. For many, this process is invisible, but for you, it is part of your mission. You understand that each heart reacts differently. Some embrace change, others try to extinguish it, and there are those who simply deny its existence. Yet, you keep planting these sparks, knowing that the potential for transformation exists in every heart, even the hardest ones. But carrying this impact is not simple. There are moments when you feel isolated, as if no one understands the weight you bear. Being the presence that inspires fear and transformation often means walking alone. Not because you choose solitude, but because the people around you cannot handle the intensity of your light. They prefer distance, and that can hurt. However, you know your mission goes beyond superficial connections. Your energy was not meant to fit into small spaces or fragile relationships. You are being molded for the extraordinary, to touch hearts deeply, even if it means pushing away those who are not ready. And deep down, you understand that this loneliness is temporary. Because one day, the hearts you impacted will find the courage to return, to seek your light, and to thank you for the transformation you initiated. The most fascinating thing about your journey is that, although you walk under the weight of this impact, the truth is that your energy is not only a force of deconstruction. It is also a source of construction, of hope, of possibility. The hearts that initially tremble with fear eventually grow stronger. Those who resist your presence one day realize that it was your presence that pushed them toward the change they so desperately needed. And even if you don't see the immediate results, you know you are planting seeds in deep soil. That is how you understand that the fear you awaken is not the end, but the beginning. Because every rapid heartbeat from a heart touched by you is, in truth, a cry of awakening. And even if it takes time, every heart touched by your light will find its way back to the truth. There is undeniable power in the transformation you cause, but there is also responsibility. You did not choose to carry this energy, but you were chosen for it, and with it comes the understanding that the fear you awaken in others is part of the process. It is not your task to ease that fear, but to allow it to do its work. The human heart, when confronted by your presence, enters a state of fight or flight, but it is in this tension that transformation begins. It is like the heat necessary to purify metal, intense, uncomfortable, but essential. Every reaction you provoke, whether positive or negative, is a reflection of the profound impact your light has on the core of others. You are not just a force, you are a call, a reminder that the heart, even when fearful, is capable of rebuilding itself. When you enter a room, something changes. It is not something that can be seen or measured, but it is deeply felt by those present. It is as if the atmosphere becomes heavier, more charged with meaning. Hearts begin to beat to a different rhythm, faster, more intense, as if responding to an invisible force shaking them from their complacency. Some people feel this as inspiration, others as a threat, but none can ignore it. The impact you have is both an opportunity and a challenge for those around you. And even those who resist your presence feel that something has been awakened within them, a spark, a doubt, a reminder that something needs to change. And even if they do not admit it, the heart never forgets the touch of your energy. That touch, as intense as it may be, is not an attack. Your light does not assault, it reveals. It is like a ray of sunlight entering a dark room, exposing shadows that were once ignored. The human heart, however, often confuses revelation with pain. It feels exposure as an attack when, in truth, it is an opportunity for healing. And here lies the paradox of your presence. You do not seek to hurt, but to heal, even though the healing process often begins with discomfort. Those who have the courage to face what you awaken discover that your light not only reveals their shadows but also illuminates their deepest potentials. And it is through this process that fear begins to transform into gratitude. The heart, initially overcome with dread, realizes that the truth you carry is, in fact, what it has always sought. But not everyone is ready for that truth. And with time, you learn to accept this. There are hearts that prefer to remain closed, that choose to flee from the light you offer. Not because they are weak, but because they are not yet ready. This, too, is part of your journey. Your mission is not to force transformation, but to be present for those who seek it. Each person has their own timing, and the impact you leave, even if not immediate, endures. Your light is like a mark left on the heart of those you touch, a mark that may not be noticed now but will resonate at the right moment. Because, in the end, no heart can ignore the truth forever. And you, with your energy, are the constant reminder that change is possible even when it seems distant. In every interaction, you plant an invisible seed in the hearts around you. That seed is like a reminder that something greater awaits, but it requires courage to grow. Many resist, preferring their comfort zones. However, the mark you leave does not fade. It is like a call that lingers, softly echoing until the right moment for it to bloom. You may not always see the fruits of this change, but the impact is there. You understand that your mission is not to harvest but to sow, initiating internal processes that may take years to materialize. Your role is to plant, even knowing that some hearts may take time to recognize the value of this transformation. And still, you continue because you know that no heart touched by your presence remains unaffected. The fear you awaken is, in truth, a sign of hope. It means that something is shifting within people, even if they do not fully understand it. This fear is not about you but about the walls that must be broken down for the heart to expand. It is like a crack in an ancient structure. It may seem small, but it is the beginning of a complete renewal. Your presence initiates this movement, forcing people to confront their vulnerabilities. Not everyone is ready for this, but even those who resist feel that something has been activated. The heart, even in fear, knows that change is inevitable. And you, with your energy, are the catalyst that starts this process, bringing light to places that were once trapped in darkness. You are like a storm that arrives without warning but brings renewal. For many, your presence is uncomfortable because it destabilizes. The human heart seeks security, even in situations that limit its growth. And then, you appear, carrying a force that exposes weaknesses and invites change. People don't know how to react to this. Some withdraw, others try to deny the impact, but none can ignore it. The heart senses that something greater is happening. Your energy demands movement, action, and honesty. For some, this is terrifying, but for others, it is the push they needed to break internal barriers. Even if they try to resist, your presence plants a transformation that cannot be undone. The reactions you provoke are as diverse as the hearts you touch. Some see you as a threat, others as a beacon of hope. What everyone feels is that something changes when you are near. Your energy is not something that can be ignored or controlled. It works directly on the deepest layers of the soul, destabilizing what is false and strengthening what is true. The human heart, accustomed to self-protection, is conflicted in your presence. It knows it must change but fears the effort that change demands. And this is why your presence has such a profound impact. It forces the heart to choose between growth and stagnation. This choice is the beginning of transformation. Not everyone is ready for the change you bring, and this is something you learn to accept. There are hearts that still need time, that prefer to remain in the shadows until they are prepared to face the light. And that's okay. Your mission is not to force transformation but to be the catalyst for those who are ready. You understand that every soul has its own pace and that the impact you have won't always be recognized immediately. Still, you persist. Because you know that, even if it takes time, the seed planted by your presence will sprout. Your energy is a constant reminder that the truth is always waiting, ready to be embraced when the heart decides. Carrying this light is both a burden and a privilege. There are moments when you feel the weight of the reactions you provoke, the barriers you encounter, the resistance you face. But at the same time, there is a deep conviction that guides you. You know you were chosen to bring change, to touch hearts in ways no one else can. And while this often means walking lonely paths, it also means that your journey is essential. Every person who feels your presence, every heart that reacts, is being touched by something greater. You did not come to be accepted by everyone, you came to transform. And that is what makes your light so necessary. The impact you have transcends the moment. Even after you leave, your energy remains. It is like a melody that continues to echo in the heart, even after the music has stopped. People may try to forget, ignore, or deny what they felt, but they cannot erase the transformation that has begun. The heart is stubborn, but it also recognizes what is true. And, having been touched by your light, it can no longer return to what it once was. The seed planted by your presence will continue to grow, slowly but steadily. You are a reminder that the truth, once revealed, cannot be contained. Your journey is not always easy. The weight of carrying such transformative energy can be exhausting, especially when you encounter resistance and rejection. There are moments when you question whether it's all worth it, whether the impact you have truly makes a difference. But deep down, you know the answer. Every heart that trembles in your presence is being challenged to grow. And even if you don't see the immediate fruits of your mission, you know you are fulfilling a greater purpose. You are not here to please, you are here to transform. And that transformation, no matter how painful, is what moves the world toward the light. The human heart is a fortress, but also fertile ground. When you arrive, your light penetrates the deepest layers, breaking down the barriers that hinder growth. This light, however, does not force transformation, it offers a choice. Hearts that accept your touch find freedom, while those that resist remain in struggle. But even in those cases, your presence leaves a mark. It is a mark of possibility, of potential, of hope. You are a catalyst, a force that awakens what has been dormant. And though not everyone may recognize this now, the impact you have is undeniable. Your mission is to plant the seeds of truth, trusting that time will do the rest. You are not alone on this journey. There are others like you, others who carry similar lights and face similar challenges. Your strength comes from a connection to something greater, something that transcends fear and doubt. It is this connection that sustains you, even in the most difficult moments. You know that your mission is greater than any rejection or resistance you may face. The impact you have is not to be measured by acceptance but by transformation. And with every heart touched, every soul awakened, you fulfill an essential role. Your light, even in silence, is what keeps truth alive in a world that often fears it. In the end, you are more than a presence, you are a call. A call to truth, to change, to expansion. The fear your light provokes is only the beginning of a journey that leads to freedom. And while not everyone is ready for it, you continue. Because you know that every heart touched is a step toward something greater. You are the thunder that announces the storm, but also the light that guides through it. Your presence is a gift, a reminder that the human heart is capable of expansion, even in resistance. And this is why you are so necessary, because the world needs lights like yours. If you've made it this far, it's because you recognize the power of your light and the impact it creates. Don't let doubts or resistance deter you from your mission. Your presence is a gift, and the world needs it more than you can imagine. Now, choose to strengthen this journey with a simple gesture. Hit the like button below and subscribe to the channel. Activate notifications so you never miss content that strengthens your mission as a chosen one. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder of their strength, and leave a comment about how your presence is important to those around you. If you believe in this work and want to support it in a special way, consider helping us through Buy Me a Coffee. Your support allows messages like this to reach those who need them the most. The link is pinned in the comments. And don't forget to check out the next video on your screen now or explore our playlist on the secrets of the chosen ones. You're sure to find even more strength to stay firm in your mission. Remember, your light is unique and irreplaceable. The impact you create, even when invisible, is what transforms the world. Thank you for watching until the end, and we'll see you soon.